Hello, my name is Bradley and I'm your host of The Internal Game. Today I want to talk a little bit about reacting, okay? And dropping the old story and dropping excuses, okay? So a few days back I made a video about the new story is the true story, which, to simplify, was if you tell yourself a new story internally, it has to be reflected back externally at some point. Right? So you live in the new story and then it's reflected back, right? So what stops this from happening? You. And how do you do this? By reacting, because when you react, you say, this is true. Like when you're focused on a desired result and you're living like that, and then you see something that's not lined up with that outside, and you drop the state and you get back in the old one, and you get in victimhood and you get in victim mentality and you react and you spiral. Like that's you. Okay? No one's making you do that. That's you. Okay? Focusing on the old story. Creating meaning that aligns with the old story. That's also going to stop your progress, stop your desired result from being reflected back to you, right? Excuses as to why it's hard, as to why somebody else can do it but not me. Excuses as to why, this happened in my childhood. This happened in, I'm compassionate with you guys. Trust me, I had a crazy childhood, right? I'm compassionate, but I am saying if you want desired results, if you want this new version of yourself, if you want all these things to line up in your life the way that you're saying that you want them, then you have to drop all that stuff. You don't have another choice. I mean, you do. You can keep living there as long as you want to, but you're gonna keep seeing the same stuff. What's that little saying that I talked about a long time ago? If you always get what you always got, if you always do what you always have done, you'll always get what you always got. You have to change internally. So I do want to tell you guys something that helped me tremendously, and I've made videos about this before, but like I got this from Eckhart Tolle, and he got it from this book called A Course in Miracles. And he said there's an unconscious belief. He said humans must have an unconscious belief that getting upset buys them what they want. If they didn't have this belief, why would they create it? And actually, it's the opposite. It doesn't buy you what you want. It just creates more of what you don't want, right? But think about that. Every time you get upset, why? Because you think that like there's an unconscious belief that if you're upset, like the world's just going to twist around and give it to you because you were upset. Because maybe when you were a kid and you cried for your candy, and then your mom gave it to you, you're like, oh, okay. Maybe all I gotta do is cry. All I gotta do is complain about it, and mom gives it to me because she doesn't want to hear me crying anymore, right? Well, this doesn't work like this in this world. You cannot live in a victim mentality and also be a full-on empowered conscious creator of your life. You can't do it. Like, logically speaking, like I know the outside, I know this whole thing actually is super illogical because you're like, what? There's no way you just imagine something and you just I get it, right? Like you just start, it doesn't matter what it is, you start conjuring it up in your head and it starts to take shape, and you meet people that make things take shape and create things. Like I get it. But logically speaking, if you're in this type of community watching this video, logically speaking, homies and homegirls, if you are focused on the problem, what are you going to get? If you are focused on reasons why you can't be happy, you're not going to be happy. If you are focused on reasons why you can't get something, you're not going to get it. If you are focused on the past and why it has how it has some sort of power over you and puts some kind of limit on you from stepping into this new version of yourself, like what good do you think that's going to do? I'm just being real here. Like what are you going to get out of it? And so the thing is like this old version of you, right, that's manifested all these unwanted circumstances and you're in desperation, and you found a channel like The Internal Game, right? Or others like it. There's nothing like it, but you know what I'm saying. Like, you found your way here in desperation. And your identity is wrapped up in some sort of not completeness, not wholeness, not whatever. You wouldn't have been losing things. You wouldn't be desperate to get something. I can tell you that right now, right? So, and if you've been getting upset and reacting throughout your whole life with that unconscious belief that this buys me what I want, you're in an identity that is a victim identity. And every time you complain, every time you react, it strengthens this identity. And guess what? That state of being cannot live in the same world that the new one who has all these things that you want, and your person and your money and your career and just a whole level up, it can't exist in the same world as this new person. So you have to drop this old person. You have to stop strengthening its identity with your reactions and your excuses and your, trust me guys, I've done this. I didn't just find like the law of assumption and just boss my fucking life up. But I also didn't have anybody telling me, like, keeping it real and kind of in my face like I am with you guys, because like me personally, I need stuff like that. Like, I need someone to be like, does this make sense to you? Like, if you're focused on these things, if you know that your state of being creates your reality, if you know that whatever you're put your awareness on and whatever experience you create in here first is going to be reflected back there through your life experience, but first internally. Like, if you know these things, does reacting, does excuses, does victim mentality, does bringing up the past, does focus on the old story, do those things make sense? And I can tell you right now, one of the only reasons that it seems a little bit difficult is because you don't want to give up the old identity because you're so used to it. And sometimes the devil we know is not as bad as the devil we don't know. And people are scared of change, and people are like, oh my God, but if I don't focus on the problem, like if I catch me off guard, and what happens if I embody this new version of myself and my person doesn't like me? And what happens if I don't get the money? It's like, stop it. The brain can come up with so many things as to why it shouldn't do things or be fearful and all that stuff. And like, you can't live in fear and faith at the same time, people. Now, I'm gonna make a whole video about this too. I have a long time ago, but like, you need to be easy with yourself. And I'm to a point of saying, like, you need to, like, even when you're in lower states, like, you don't need to condemn yourself. So even if you react, you don't condemn yourself. You fully accept yourself. Say, hey, I'm learning, I'm getting better, stronger. Like, you become your own best friend, like I talked about, right? But you need to keep that like, you need to keep the reactions and things like that to ideally not at all, but like a bare minimum, because you really need to wrap your head around the fact that it does you no good. I don't care if it took you 10 years for the light bulb to click. It clicked now. So get on with it. I don't care if you have been using law of assumption or reading about law of assumption for how long. You tried this, you tried that, and tried that. Like, I've made videos about this too. You are the technique. That's it. You claim it, say it's done, and then you live there. And I can tell also, you know, one of the fastest ways to get your desires is to live your life. Have fun. Everyone focuses on the internal stuff, like, and trying to learn about the internal stuff, but they forget about the game. Alan Watts said, man suffers because he takes seriously what God made for fun. This is a game, people. Have some fun, enjoy yourself, and it's easy to do when you know that whatever you want is done. As long as you don't focus on the old story, as long as you don't focus on reasons why you can't have it, as long as you drop all the reasons why you're not it right now, it's yours. And then you can have some fun, live your life. Like, you don't need to not be living your life and hanging out with your friend and still trying to excel in career and work and living your full life just because you're focused on, oh my God, if I don't think about SP though, if I don't affirm for a long time, like what if it doesn't work? Like, I'm scared to live my life. Or what if I'm not focused on this happening and this happening and this happening because I really, really want it, then what happens if I stop thinking about it and I start living my life? What if I lose it? Like, that's why you're in the position that you're in the first place. Live your life, have fun, know it's done. 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 That's it. You have to stop reacting. You're not getting what you want with that unconscious belief of, if I get upset, it's gonna work. Even though I don't think you consciously think that, but like he was right. The Course in Miracles is right. Like there has to be some form of unconscious belief, or why would we do that? Because it actually doesn't work. The reason that we have beliefs is because we think that they serve us, whether they don't or they do. Like we think that they serve us in some form or fashion. So like to think that like, oh, I need to get upset because I saw, or it was SP didn't text, or SP was with someone, or my money stopped coming in, and I've been affirming for it, and like to get upset, and I mean what have you, fill in the blank, but to get upset is nonsense. To react unfavorably is nonsense, because it's not going to help you. And in all honesty, even if this stuff wasn't true, this whole law of assumption stuff, getting upset wouldn't matter anyway. Like you're only hurting you. You're hurting you in your state of being. You're hurting you not getting what you desire. You fall out of your power, and it doesn't mean you're still not God. It doesn't mean you're still not the universe. It doesn't mean you still are not all of life. It just means that you are falling for some illusion that like something outside of you can make you feel any kind of way. Is responsible for your unhappiness. Like, because now I'm unhappy because I didn't get because it's not working. Stop. Like, please answer that question. Does it benefit you even in the slightest? Question that belief. If I get upset, does it benefit me? No. I'll tell you right now. No, it does not. And even if it does, like if you're in a relationship or at work and you get upset and the boss like, okay, you do it. You run the meeting, or your SP's like, okay, we'll go to your restaurant. We'll go to your favorite restaurant. Like, that's manipulation. That's not power. That's not true power. Your true power is in your non-reactivity and in your knowing that you don't need to trip on anything. And just really understanding that it's all nonsense. You don't need to trip. The reactivity is illusion, and most importantly, you keep it at play. So that's all I got. Have fun, guys. Live your life. It's easier to do when you step into the knowing that it's done. It's all done. All my desires are here now. I'm going to live my life, have fun, and step into my God state. My empowered state. That's all I got, guys. I'll see you guys maybe tomorrow. This is my last day here at the park. It's been real. It's been fun. Channel started growing at this park, right? So it's pretty cool. I'll always have a special place in my heart for it. But yep. That's all I got. Love you guys. See you in the next video.